Hello, today we're going to be talking about non-romance films with great romantic couples. And I have also included some links to some of these movies in the description if you're interested. I think these movies will be great for Valentine's Day or anytime at all. These are great movies. But if you're like me and you're not really into all the romance movies, I think you'll like these. So sit back and enjoy. Walk the Line, 2005.
Hello, I'm Johnny Cash.
With that sound, steady like a train, sharp like a razor.
We're all going to hell for the songs we sing.
And what about me, Charlie?
No, June, you're beautiful.
Sorry, it just happened.
You should try taking credit for something every once in a while.
Come on, baby.
Baby, 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 baby.
Tell me you don't love me.
I don't love you.
Liar.
The film stars Joaquin Phoenix as Johnny Cash and Reese Witherspoon as June Carter, who later becomes his wife. The movie itself is really good, and listening to the songs by Johnny Cash is really fun. I think everybody should at least listen to at least one of Johnny Cash's songs, and it's pretty much un-American if you don't love Johnny Cash, that's all I'm going to say. But this film is really good, it's really touching, and obviously no one's perfect, no relationship is perfect, but this story comes really close.
I gotta ask Junior a question before we finish this song. Will you marry me?
Now, I know I said and done a lot of things that I hurt you. I'll never do that again.
In case none of y'all heard, she said yes.
Johnny Cash covered 9 Inch Nails' Hurt in 2002. I threw this in here because surely you've heard of this song.
Everyone I know goes away in the air.
You're gonna cry, cry, cry.
I'm crying.
Yes, I did, and you probably did too. But this story is a really good story with great music, great actors. I absolutely love Joaquin Phoenix. You need to watch Walk the Line. The Mummy, 1999.
Home of Imhotep, Pharaoh's high priest, keeper of the dead. Birthplace of Anaxunamun, Pharaoh's mistress. But for their love, they were willing to risk life itself.
And as you can guess, this causes some problems for Imhotep. So hear me out here. I know this isn't the traditional love story, and I am not standing up for what these people did because they did do some bad things, obviously. I am just saying, to me, I've always seen this as a love story. Now, we're just going by this movie, not with what happens in the sequels, so let's ignore that. Just by this movie alone, to me, it's always been a really good love story. Now, this movie stars Brendan Fraser, so I'm not knocking his story between Rick and Rachel Weisz, who plays Evelyn. That's a great story as well. Always fun to see Brendan Fraser in a film, especially in the 90s. But I've always seen it as a love story between Imhotep and Anaxunamun. I am pretty sure I pronounced that right. If I am wrong, I apologize. I was obsessed with this movie as a kid, so again, maybe I've read into it a little more than I should have, and I am not excusing what Imhotep did because he did do some pretty bad things after being resurrected from the dead. And when this movie came out, it was pretty impressive. Like, the special effects were top notch. We're like, how did they do that? And I know it's probably a little outdated nowadays, but it's better than a lot of the special effects we see nowadays, if you ask me. So the basic storyline is Imhotep is basically reassembling himself with the male victims, and he wants to bring his love back to life, finding the right woman for it. And you can guess where this is going. It's a really fun movie. I always had a good time watching it, so this is fun anyway. But since to me, this has a love story that's kind of out of nowhere, maybe people don't see this as romantic, but I do. I highly suggest you watch 1999's The Mummy, starring Brendan Fraser. The Lord of the Rings Trilogy.
I would rather share one lifetime with you than face all the ages of this world alone.
Oh my god, how can you not see this as a love story? The story of Aragorn and Arwen. Arwen is giving up her immortality as an elf so she can spend the rest of their lives together, knowing full well that Aragorn will pass away, leaving her to live the rest of her life out alone. Now, these films have a special place in my heart. especially the 2001 Fellowship of the Ring. Like, if it were socially acceptable for me to dress up as an elf and walk around in their outfits, I 100% would do that. I just always thought that it was such a beautiful story. And of course, you know, the movie itself is beautiful. The cinematography is great. Everything about it, I'm just absolutely in love with. So if you're ready to sit down for several hours, watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy, not only because it's a great movie, because it's a great love story. My Girl, 1991.
Beta,
Dad?
I'm embalming my high school teacher. Don't sing. What's going on with Shelley? I'm very nervous.
Since the last time you dated, something happened. The sexual revolution.
Is Mr. Harry Sultanfuss in?
Sure.
I'm Shelley Devoto.
This is not a beauty parlor. It's a funeral parlor.
You got a deal.
Great. You... Okay.
Are they ready yet?
No, sweetie, not yet. Soon, honey, soon.
When?
In a minute. Look, it's hot, sweetie. You'll burn your nose. Look out.
What are you doing here?
What am I doing here? What am I doing here? I'm here for the motorhome.
These two people do not have a good relationship.
It's nice to meet you. We got burgers and hot dogs here if you'd care to join us. Now, you've suffered a terrible loss, and there's really nothing anyone can do to comfort you.
Is this guy boinking you?
Oh, that's a real bonehead thing to say.
You're not going to take Shelley's camper.
Oh, no?
It's her home. It's where she lives.
Oh, give me the goddamn keys. Come on.
But that hurts. Stop it.
Daddy!
Oh!
Who are you? I'm his brother. You'll probably be visiting us here quite often. Because if he ever tries to take Shelley's camper again, I'm going to bury him in my front yard. Father's a savage.
My Girl is a really great coming-of-age story, but it's not just for little girls. I think women can relate to it probably a little more since, you know, we were young girls at one point in time. But this is also a love story about Shelley and Harry, played by Jamie Lee Curtis and Dan Aykroyd. Shelley actually applies for a job as a beautician, not realizing it's to put makeup on dead people at Harry's mortuary. And there's some trouble that they head into, and honestly, when Harry stands up for Shelley, that's really where it's like, okay, well, he's really a great guy. I always kind of had a crush on Dan Aykroyd anyway. But Harry does the best he can raising his daughter Veda after her mother died. I highly suggest you watch My Girl. The Addams Family, 1991.
An open grave.
You were so beautiful, pale and mysterious. No one even looked at the corpse.
I couldn't stop staring at you all through the eulogy. Someday we'll be buried here, our lifeless bodies rotting together.
Cara mia.
So
I would die for her. I would kill for her. Either way, what bliss.
last night you were unhinged. You frightened me. Do it again.
All right, I think everybody who's ever heard of the Addams Family knows of Morticia and Gomez Addams. Honestly, their loving relationship is kind of what I would strive to have in a relationship. He's just so charming and loving, and he is actually still trying to win her over. He's still trying to show her all the romantic sides of him, and I just think that's beautiful. And many different actors have portrayed Gomez, and they all did well in their own right, but my favorite is Raul Julia. I just think he was so handsome and so charismatic. I loved him. Almost Famous 2000.
The other kids make fun of him because of how young he looks. One day, you'll be cool.
And so you're the kid who's been sending me those articles from the school newspaper. What do you like?
How old are you?
17.
Me too.
Actually, I'm 16.
Me too.
Oh, who are you with? What band?
Oh, I'm here to interview Black Sabbath. Not a groupie.
Oh no, not this one.
I'll take care of this. If I can.
I am absolutely in love with this movie. It's based in the early 70s, and this young boy has managed to get a job as a reporter for the Rolling Stone to interview this band, a very popular band named Stillwater. While this is based before my time, this gives me a very nostalgic feeling. Just simplicity and people who love the band for their music. She, right there, Penny Lane, she's one of the original groupies who followed the band along because she loved their music. So it's not a true love story, I suppose, necessarily, but there's just a lot of love here, and I have a lot of love for this movie. It is just so sweet in so many scenes. So those are my romantic, non-romantic movie suggestions. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Happy Valentine's Day. Bye.
Happy Valentine's Day, you crazy kids.